Hello friends, my name is Karun Nagpal and in this video I am going to talk about the offences and penalty for violation of lockdown measures. So, if anyone do not follow the lockdown measures or contravene the provisions, so he may be prosecuted under the Disaster Management Act, Indian Penal Code as well as Epidemic Disease Act. So there is an ordinance that has recently amended the Epidemic Disease Act and brought in some harsh provisions in that. So we will discuss about. So Disaster Management Act 2005, there is a chapter 10, which talks about offences and penalty. So let's discuss section by section. Section 51 talks about the punishment for obstruction. So whosoever obstruct any officer in discharge of his function or refuses to comply with the direction shall be punishable with a term which may extend to 1 year. Or if the obstruction or refusal result in a loss of life or any danger, so he shall be punishable with imprisonment which may extend to 2 years. Punishment for false claims, section 52 talks about that. So whosoever knowingly makes any false claim or for the purpose of obtaining any relief under the provisions, so he shall be liable to imprisonment up to a term which may extend to 2 years. Section 53 talks about punishment for misappropriation of money or material. So whosoever is being entrusted with the money or material meant for providing relief during this disaster situation misappropriates shall be liable with an imprisonment up to 2 years. Section 54 talks about punishment for false warning. Whosoever makes or circulates any false alarm or rumors warning as to disaster, and he shall be punishable with an imprisonment up to 1 year. Section 57 talks about penalty for contravention of any order regarding requisitioning. So if any person contravenes any order under section 65, so under section 65 empowers any officer to requisition any resources, vehicle, etc. for rescue operation. For example, any personal vehicle is required in the epidemic situation for purpose of transportation of resources or injured people to the non-affected area. So in case any person do not follow the instruction given by the officer, he shall be liable for an imprisonment which may extend to 1 year. Offences by companies. So every person who is in charge of the company as well as the company, if contravenes the provision of this Disaster Management Act, shall be punished under this act. And any other officer, whether director, manager, secretary, if is found to have committed the offence, shall be prosecuted under this act. And section 60 talk about cognizance of offence. So no court shall suo motu initiate the proceeding. So it has to be through the any officer of central government, state government, or district officer, or any other officer. Complaint can be filed within 30 days. Then comes section 55, which talks about the offences by department of government. So where any offence under this act has been committed by the department of government, head of the department shall be deemed guilty under this act and proceeded against. Where the offence has been committed with the consent of any other officer and due to his neglect, he shall be proceeded with and punished accordingly. Section 56 talk about failure of officer in duty or his connivance at the contravention of the provision of the act. So any officer on whom any duty has been imposed by the or under this act who ceases or refuses to perform or withdraw himself from the duty unless he has obtained the express written consent from his supervisor or has a lawful excuse for not doing so. So in that case, if he contravenes, he shall be punishable and imprisoned under this act up to 1 year. Section 59 talks about the previous sanction for prosecution for prosecuting the government personnel. So if offence can be proved under 56, 55 or 56, so prior approval of central or state government or authority under central or state government is required for initiating section 55 and 56. Section 188 of Indian Penal Code talks about disobedience of public servant. So in case anyone disobeys any direction of the public servant, he may be liable for an imprisonment up to 1 month. And in case that disobedience causes a danger to human life, health and safety and tend to cause, so the imprisonment may go up to 6 months and with fine of 1000 rupees. So it is not necessary that the offender should intend to produce harm or contemplate his disobedience as likely to produce harm. It is sufficient that he knows of the order which he disobeys and that his disobedience any harm. So let's take an illustration here. An order is promulgated by public servant lawfully empowered to promulgate such order directing that religious processions shall not pass down a certain street. In knowingly disobeys the order and thereby causes danger of riot, A has committed the offense defined in this section. The Epidemic Disease Act 1897, the century-old act, has also got an amendment through an ordinance yesterday on 22nd of April 2020. So Union Cabinet has brought in this ordinance to amend this act to protect healthcare service personnel and property including their living and working premises against any kind of violence. So the ordinance is intended to ensure zero tolerance to any form of violence against healthcare service personnel and damage to any kind of property. For timely action, the ordinance stipulates 30 days to complete the investigation and the verdict has to be given within 1 year. The ordinance award the following punishment. In normal scenario, there is a provision up to 5 years of imprisonment and fine which may extend to 2 lakh rupee. In grievous cases, the jail term is up to 7 years and fine may go up to 7 lakh rupee. In case the damage is caused to any vehicle or clinic of healthcare worker, the guilty have to make a payment of double the amount of market rate of that property that has been damaged. That's all friends I have in this video, and keep watching my video. Stay safe and protected. Thank you.